Hello, it's Andrea Troutner, and welcome back to the Attuned Tribe, where we are getting into the Solar Plexus Chakra this month, continuing on with our chakra series. And we are starting off with a group Biofield Tuning session today, where I tune into the energy of the collective and all who will ever listen to this video to see what the prominent themes are related to the Solar Plexus Chakra and get those all tuned up for us. So it's just to start off and tell you a bit about the Solar Plexus Chakra and some of the main themes. When we are working with Biofield Tuning, the main themes that we focus on and come across when we are dealing with the Solar Plexus Chakra, that's self-esteem, goal setting, and achievement. Now, we also are going to be dealing with our relationship with our parents in this chakra. On our right side, of course, that's our masculine side, so that is our relationship with our father. As well, then on the left side, we'll be dealing with the relationship with the mother. On the right side, that's also that more fiery masculine energy, and so this is where we typically find anger stored in the body. And on the left side is where we find our powerlessness. So those themes will be coming up in conjunction to that self-esteem, goal setting, achievement, and relationship with parents. So plenty to look at and deal with in this space. And then just to kind of go into some of those basic details, the solar plexus is our third chakra. It's located in the upper abdomen, just below the ribs here. It's that center of personal power, confidence, willpower, and self-esteem, like we said, right? So when it's balanced, we're going to have clarity and confidence and purposeful action. And when it's imbalanced is when we're going to experience more self-doubt and that powerlessness and anger, like we talked about. You might also, on a physical level, notice digestive issues or have trouble moving forward. So the purpose of the session with the Biofield Tuning, we use sound to release stuck energy and just bring flow back to this chakra. If you'd like more information on Biofield Tuning, I would encourage you to go to biofieldtuning.com. You can also gather more information in our intro video on our page. And if you go through the other Biofield Tuning videos, you'll kind of pick up a little bit of information here and there as we go along, okay? So today we really want to support that confidence and empowerment and the ability to take action. We want to create more space in our bodies for clarity and strength and self-trust, so then we do have that ability to keep moving forward. A couple other details here. We can also use supportive sounds. We can kind of use our own voices as our own tuning fork. So this will probably come up at some point in the session where we can use some of these tones and sounds just to help kind of give that extra boost of energy movement to help clear these out. And these are a great tool to use on your own when you don't have tuning forks. You always have your voice. You always have frequency and vibration available to you. So if you'd like to use some supportive sounds for the solar plexus chakra, when we are thinking about moving our voice out and projecting our energy outward, we want to use the sound you, just like the word you, okay? And that's kind of moving from the front of the body out. And when we're thinking about coming inward or going out the back of the body, the tone that way is mo. So you from the front and mo towards the inside or back, okay? So we will use those in the session as well today. So for now, I would like you to just find a quiet, comfortable space where you won't be disturbed. It's really your job to just breathe and notice what's happening inside your body without trying to think too much, setting that mental mind aside and letting the wisdom of your body come forward. Noticing sensations, emotions, or memories, but not trying to force anything to come up or using that mental mind too much to like dive into story. We kind of notice the stories and memories that come up and just let them be, right? Because that's the reason why they got stuck, is because they were shoved down and not allowed to finish. So if you notice those things rising up, then the goal would be to notice them and allow them to finish processing. So if that means expressing emotion, expressing sounds, letting your body move, shake, whatever it might be, pay attention and just let that be, let that move. That would be the goal here, to notice it as it comes up and let it finish, and then let it continue to flow out of you, and the breath really does assist with that. So when you breathe, you want to imagine your breath kind of coming in through the top of your head, and as you exhale, moving out the bottom of your feet and or your tailbone, whichever you connect with more. And that way we're having that nice full flow of energy all the way through the body, and that nice complete release of those emotions and any physical symptoms that might be coming up. So we got a good flush of energy there. So let's move into the session. I'm going to get ready here, and I encourage you to do so as well. That'll be lay down, close your eyes, be undisturbed. Try not to sleep. I would say sometimes the body really does need sleep. If you find yourself sleeping today, maybe come back and watch the session another time so you can get the full benefit from it. All right, let's get started. Okay, I'm going to start by doing kind of an abbreviated grounding. I do want to get into our sun star today as well, which is at the top of our head, where energy comes in through the top of our head. Energy actually comes in and goes out through the top of our head, as it does come in and go out through the bottom of our feet. So we're going to make sure we get both of those balanced today. The reason why I want to make sure we hit that sun star today is because the solar plexus is our inner sun, right? That's our inner source of energy and power, as is the sun, our outer source of energy and power. So I want to make sure we tie that in today. So let's start by taking a nice big deep breath. Starting off strong. Just letting all of that tension go. Kind of start by doing a body scan. Notice where you're holding tension. Just kind of get a baseline starting level of where your body's at right now, how you're feeling, what's happening for you. Going to get this central energy channel all charged up here. Again, like I said, that's the energy coming in through your feet and moving up the body. We want to see this as a nice, clear, flowing river. Not a little trickle, not flooding out of the banks, but just a nice, strong flow. And without any debris clogging up the flow. Okay. That's feeling pretty good there. So now we just really want to ground this in. So imagine those roots growing out of the bottom of your feet here and really reaching deeply into the dark, rich, deep soil of the earth, okay, where we can set a strong foundation for ourselves. Make sure you are using your breath. You'll hear me breathing a lot as we move through the session, as I release the energy that flows through. Very nice. And we just want to have that nice clear channel to release the things that we do not need through our feet and bring up that supportive foundational energy. So just finding that nice strong foundation here. Just settling in. Nice big deep breath as we lock in here. I'm already feeling some of kind of that struggle of the solar plexus energy down here, kind of being pulled between that anger and powerlessness. And feeling some tension in the head. So just keep breathing. Yeah, that's better. Okay. All right, that's feeling nice and strong. So let's come up, and like I said, we're going to make sure we balance that sun star today as well, connecting in with that solar energy. Okay, again, settling in here. Take a nice deep breath. Let your body shake out if it needs to. Okay, because we're getting stagnant energy moving already. Feel like we've got nice, strong energy coming in today. Ready to support this solar plexus energy. Okay, and working on that central channel here, the energy that comes in through the head and flows out through the feet. Making sure we have that nice strong river flowing, no debris blocking our way. Okay, and just imagining that sunlight flowing in through your head, the energy of the sun coming in through your head, and all the gifts that the sun has to offer us. This is energy, power, wisdom, strength, okay? And just that glow, the glow of life, the bright lightness of life. Welcoming that into your whole field. Imagining your whole field glowing, lighting up like somebody just walked into a dark room and flipped on the lights or turned on the most beautiful, warm, glowing sun lamp. Or like you just stepped outside right? And feel that natural sunlight glowing and lighting up your whole aura here. Welcoming in those gifts of light, power, and strength. All right, very nice, everybody. Now we're working from a nice, strong foundation, and we will get started working on the solar plexus. So I am going to be starting on the left side, which is that feminine side. This is going to be the relationship with the mother, as well as those feelings of powerlessness. So I will just be moving kind of through the timeline. The outer edge of the field starts with our birth, and then we slowly move in, sweeping through that solar plexus line, moving through the timeline of our lives, and clearing any stuck or dense energy that are related to these themes, okay? So let's get started at the edge here. You can put a hand to that high belly if you'd like as we move through, directing your breath and your energy and your intention into this space. As we just start to notice how this area is feeling, what's happening here. And when we come right out to the edge of this field, there's a lot of mother energy popping in right away because obviously being the relationship to the mother, this is our birth, our conception, you know, what was happening when mom was pregnant with us, what her experience was. All that information can be stored out here. And so just breathing and noticing. And what I notice off the bat most right here, just a little bit of alarm coming through for those that may have had a difficult birth experience. But I'm just noticing tension. Just kind of this, it's just uncomfortable, you know, and since the beginning, when I started at our feet, it's just, it feels like a confusion, like I keep being kind of like pulled back and forth, or I have just kind of so many things happening at once that I don't even know what exactly to focus on. Like I'm having a hard time sorting it all out and focusing on any one thing because I just kind of feel like overflowing and kind of overloaded with a lot of sensory information coming in all at once, which I imagine is maybe how a baby would feel, right? Lights and noises and voices and feelings and cold air and whatever else there is happening. Water, if it was possibly a water birth, right? All kinds of different birth situations there. So just giving it a breath so we can try to settle in here a little bit. Okay, and as we notice these parts of ourselves that come up, and you know, you're not going to notice everything that I mention or move through, and that's okay. So it's taking what resonates and noticing what's happening for you and just letting the rest go. But as we notice these parts of ourselves that come up, this baby that just popped into the world with all this chaos and confusion surrounding it already, overloading its senses immediately. The goal here is to just notice them and let them be heard, be seen, right? In everything that was happening for them in that moment. And also having our adult selves step in to offer support and compassion in whatever way they needed it in those moments that they didn't get at the time, right? So what's unresolved there that we can help support? So noticing, if mom was able to come in and wrap you up and hold you close, start that bonding process, the skin to skin, the breastfeeding, whatever it was, did that happen for you? And most of you probably aren't going to know, right? But just sensing in your body what feels right. Or if you know some bits and pieces, maybe you were adopted, so maybe, you were removed from mom right away. So what that experience might have been like, or maybe there was some trauma at the birth and you were removed right away. And I'm hearing a little alarm there. So at least some of you had some experience like that, right? So, and I feel a little chill of fear come through my body, if you're, swept away from this voice and this person and this comfort that you've known for the past 9 months or so, not knowing what's happening or where you're going. Just breathe through that. Let it run all the way through your body, okay? Try to get that energy moving, whatever it is that comes up, okay? And holding it with gentle hands, holding it with care. Okay, feeling like we're kind of ready to push in and start moving down the timeline here a little bit. And when we're able to move, it means that the energy is clearing from the space that we just were. The body's ready to move on. So those themes really still feel just super strong here in those younger toddler years. Thinking about that relationship with our mother, for the majority of us, that is our strongest relationship in the beginning. But we are young and, we are under the direction of our parents, right? And so noticing where that powerlessness comes in right away. Think about those, terrible twos, and all the tantrums from the toddlers, all these T words. But that's the feeling that I'm getting when you look at those toddler tantrums, is that feeling of powerlessness. We come in with a very strong sense of self, a very strong will for the most of us. And we want to exert that will. We're excited to be here on earth in these bodies. We're excited to get started on our mission. We're still very connected and aware of that as young children. And we want our will to be expressed. And, the parents on the opposite end, they think it's their job. And, to a huge extent, it is their job to, direct us and guide us and teach us. And so sometimes those wills split, right? They don't meet up. And that can leave the child being, small and at the will of their parents to at times feel powerless when it feels like their voice isn't being heard, when their will isn't being expressed. So tapping into that energy right off the bat here. Keep that breath going and let it just help us move these things through. You can always substitute the just a sigh or a breath for those tones that we already talked about. The sound of you and Moooh. Okay, if it feels like there's something that's like a little more stuck, that you're having trouble moving, bring in those tones and see how the two different ones feel for you, what feels more appropriate or more useful in the moment. So what that sounds like is, you can put a hand on that upper belly and just say you, or you. It doesn't have to sound like anything. It doesn't have to sound good. We're not trying to be trained vocalists here by any means. It's using that tone and vibration in any way that it wants to and needs to come through in the moment. So I feel like we're coming up on those early school years where we're going to start looking at a little bit more of those themes of self-esteem, goal setting, and achievement when those things start to kick in a little bit more. And noticing how your relationship with your mother played into that, right? As far as what expectations did they have for you about goal setting and achievement? And how did that then affect your self-esteem? So, and noticing how all of these themes can be tied together, right? We come in with that strong will to, meet our goals and have achievements. And then how that can be shaped by our parents or affected by our parents in any way. And when that gets, twisted as we, try to please ourselves and fit in with our families and society, all at the same time, it becomes this balance of who's going to win out? How strong is my will? Or am I going to crumble to the will of others who are going to exert their goals and the achievements that they want me to reach? And I just feel that theme kind of going through these younger childhood years. It's just carrying through here, and how that's shaping, like I said, our self-esteem. So were you able to hold your will, or did your will kind of align with everybody else's? And so maybe you got a good ego boost from that. You were good at achieving goals. So just noticing kind of what that looked like for you in those earlier elementary years. I would say going up through probably reaching into junior high. So just that whole kind of younger childhood, depending upon how old you are at this point. If you're younger, we're probably still looking at a little bit of those younger years. If you are older, I would say at least in your 60s or so, then we are probably going up to that junior high age. But just notice whatever feels relevant for you, whatever's coming in for you. Again, not thinking about it too much, just noticing what's here, but I'm just keeping you informed of where we're at on our timeline. Oh, gotta let some chills going through. I'm feeling the need to shake it off a little bit, so please pay attention to your body, and if it's requesting any kind of movement or breath. Wow, I'm really feeling the desire to kind of stretch and move, so just notice whenever that comes up in your body and try to allow that as well as you can. I'm hitting something new here. I just got kind of like a wave of nausea, or just like very kind of shut down here with it's feeling those expectations coming down on me. Maybe kind of a wave of dread that I may not be able to meet goals and achievements. Or it's living up to expectations. And it's not just from mom anymore. I feel that we're moving into those later teen years, and where the peers start to come in and be a lot more important. We start getting influenced a lot more from our friends. And society too. And I have this feeling of kind of like, we start comparing ourselves and saying, oh wow, do I really measure up? Like I thought I was doing okay, but now, it's like I'm getting put into a bigger pool of fish and feeling like a small fish and going, oh man, I thought, maybe I was doing okay on my goal achievement, and now as we keep moving further along, I'm feeling that fear and that dread that I may not be able to accomplish the things that I thought that I was going to. When the child who, if you were, obsessed with sports as a young child, thinking, telling everybody for your whole childhood, I'm going to be a pro athlete. And then you hit that certain age where you go, wow, it's a really rare few people who get to become a pro athlete, and that requires so much effort and work, and just letting that's what that feeling was. It's like that reality sinking in, along with this dread of like, oh man, maybe I can't do it. Noticing wherever that might have been relevant for you, for whatever goal, for whatever topic, just kind of that reality hits and we start to doubt. So, I mentioned that in the beginning, that when the solar plexus gets out of balance, that's absolutely one of the things that we can experience, is that self-doubt. So just hitting on those moments, and we're already moved up to about halfway through our lifetime, so whatever age that might be for you. And that's an important time. We really start trying to achieve these long-term goals that were set for us in our childhood. It's kind of that do or die on some of those decisions. Am I going to be that pro athlete? Or do I need to make another choice? Is this going to happen for me? Or who else am I? What else am I going to be? And I'm feeling kind of that, am I going to follow in my mother's footsteps? Am I going to follow my mother's wishes and hopes and dreams for my life? Or is this a point where I need to break off and kind of reclaim my own unique identity, remembering our own will and goals that we came in with? Just feels a little heavy here. These are big decisions to make. And, that's a big sharp tone that just came through. Noticing some crisis that caused. I feel like most people that I'm aware of kind of went through a moment when they were in college, or those late teens, early 20s, whatever it might be, where again, it's kind of that reality check, okay? What are we actually going to do here? What are we actually going to achieve? How do my parents feel about that? How does this all affect my self-esteem? moving through those waves of self-doubt. And remember, as you are breathing through and releasing these things as they continue to come up, also reaching out that hand of support to yourself. What did you really need then? Were your parents supportive enough? Did your mom show up for you? Was she paying attention to what you were doing with your life? Was she present? And this can also be anybody who played a mother role figure for you in your life, right? So if your mother was not present, who was filling that role and what influence did they have? Feeling some of that tension start to release a little bit here in my head. I was feeling it really strongly. It's across here, that classic tension headache of being overwhelmed, trying really hard. So as we move forward in life and we've started to get a few things figured out, and then we're coming up to the point now where a lot of us, become parents, or starting to answer that question for yourself. I think that so many people base, do I want to be a parent? What does that mean to be a mother? And how your relationship with your mother played into your decision to become a parent or not. How were your goals of parenthood or child rearing? How did your relationship with your mother start to play into those themes in your life as you come up to that point of becoming a parent? A lot of energy moving here. Also just noticing how those roles change with our parents as we get older. For, all of those who felt like they've had to parent their parents, mother their mother, where there's roles were reversed and switched, or maybe that just happened as time went on. Maybe it became a necessity, right? The older our parents get. Feels kind of heavy in here again. We're getting closer to the body. The energy gets more dense. And starting to notice those points now as we start to lose our parents. How does that shape your life as they start to move on? So noticing the evolution of this relationship, how it's changed over the years, how those changes have influenced your life at these different key and critical moments. What changed in you? What happened for you as you moved through these different phases of relationship with your mom or mother figures? Or your relationship with being a mom. Yeah, I just got a little chill there, so let that move through too. shake it out as necessary. Remember those tones of you and Moooh. They can be so useful. Give it a try here if you haven't tried that yet. Really bringing in those tones. Having that frequency and vibration directly inside your body. Really wonderful and helpful. And now, as I am on top of the body here, I am kind of feeling some of that flooding back in of overwhelmed and some of that tension coming back, right? So, you know, getting caught up in all of the pressures of motherhood and some of the powerlessness there too, right? Of being a mother and how we can feel powerlessness to kind of over what's happening with our own children, what's happening in their lives, you know, wanting to help and knowing that we can only do so much in reality. Yeah, that feels pretty big and heavy right there. So noticing that, holding it, letting it move and flow, offering that compassion and grace, all right? As moms, we can be so hard on ourselves, okay? And noticing too where once we step into that role, how that shapes how we can look back at our own moms and how they handled things, and maybe having a little bit more compassion, you know, for the ways that we maybe judged our moms and their parenting styles. Until we step into that role ourselves, you know, then sometimes some of that understanding floods in. We can have a little more compassion towards them for some of the choices they made. So giving yourself grace, giving your mom some grace, okay? Wherever you feel ready for any forgiveness to come in around any of these topics and issues. Remember, forgiveness is not about condoning behaviors. It's about releasing that burden off of yourself. Feeling that tension start to dissolve a little bit again here. A little more clarity coming in, right? Which is, again, what I mentioned in the beginning, when the solar plexus starts to become more balanced, it's that clarity versus what I was feeling in the beginning, which was overwhelmed with sensory input versus having clarity and focus and being able to see each thing clearly and sort it all out for ourselves. Okay, having that strong self-esteem, that strong sense of will, feeling confident moving forward with our choices, with our goals, with our achievements, setting realistic expectations for our achievements and our goal setting in our lives. Okay, so by the time we're reaching these present lifetimes, how are you feeling about your goals and achievements? What you have fulfilled so far, what you want to do as you move forward. Okay, looking back and kind of like revising our goals periodically as we move on. So I am starting to, all this stuck energy that we found out in the field here, we return it back to the chakra so that it can be recycled and reused, okay? It's no longer dense, stuck energy, right? From these difficult times and moments in our lives. We break that all down and give it back to the body so that it can do something new with that energy. Energy is never destroyed, it only changes form, okay? That's what transmuting is, if you've heard that word but you're not fully clear. Transmuting just means changing form, right? So we're changing the form of this dense, stuck energy from the field, from these difficult moments, and saying, here you go, body. Here's some new, fresh energy. What do you want to do with it? Okay, so that's what we're going to do here in a moment. Starting to set some new intentions. Okay, so here we're starting to create this new pathway. For everything that we've just looked at and moved, how do you want those things to look different in your life as you move forward? What do you want your relationship with your mother to look like? If they're here or no longer here, right? You're still experiencing that relationship. It can still be changed. It's never too late for forgiveness. So noticing what you want your relationship with your mother to look like. Noticing what you want your experience as a mother, if you are one now, or if you plan on being one in the future, or if you decided to set that aside, but looking at that relationship with motherhood. If you're male, you know, how are you viewing your wife as a mother? How can you support her in her role as a mother? And what might you want that to look like? Even if they don't look like it, moms can always use help. Always. Okay, we've moved lots of energy. I'm feeling very warm. Notice, notice what your body temperature is doing. You might be cold. All right, new goals, intentions, achievement setting here. Connecting that in. Here we go. Whew, very nice. Okay, I'm gonna spare no time getting started on the right side, which is our masculine side and our relationship with our fathers. So, and again, this is where we're gonna be dealing with that more masculine energy of anger. Okay, so have no fear if anger comes up. Okay, we're told so many times to suppress anger, almost more than anything else. And knowing that, honestly, I think of anger as a secondary emotion. There's usually something else driving it. So if you notice anger coming up, try to go a step further and say, what else is happening here? What is the primary emotion? And it's not that anger can't be a primary emotion, but there's usually something else accompanying it or driving it. Okay, so just take a look at that and see if you can notice. And then knowing that when you're in a safe place, that we have set aside time to safely let our emotions flow. Okay, that's the best way to deal with anger, in a safe space, right by yourself. So so if you can find the vulnerability today while you're locked away by yourself listening to this video, okay, let that anger be expressed in any way that it wants to or needs to. Make sounds, move your body, let the emotion come out through tears or however you're noticing it or feeling it. But I challenge you to let that anger come through today in a safe way, okay? All right, let's jump in here. Said I wasn't gonna waste time. Okay. Nice deep breath. And we're starting over again back here at that birth and conception. In most sessions, private sessions, we're only going to do one side. For the sake of these videos, and we're doing one chakra at a time, I am hitting both sides. So we're doing kind of a faster sweep through them. But if you sign up for a personal session with me, we can dig deep into whatever side feels most prominent for you. Okay. Kind of exploring the edge of the field here, noticing what's present. Notice if you feel any differences as we've switched over to the right side of your body. I already am feeling that stronger masculine sense come through. It's just a more dominating presence, right? It's not this like submissive, powerless, I feel stuck kind of thing. It's that will feeling strong and dominant. And so, it can be the same kinds of situations that either powerlessness or anger shows up, or both, right? That powerlessness can look submissive and suppressed and, where you crumble under someone taking your power from you, or do you get mad about it? Right? Okay, so all those places immediately coming into life where we say, how dare you? How dare you show up like that? How dare you treat me like that? How dare you try to take my power away? How dare you? Say that out loud if it's coming in for you. Just coming in for me right here. I'm feeling it for all of you. How dare you? How dare you show up like that? Tell you what's coming in for me here. It's kind of funny because as I was saying that and feeling it and meaning it so deeply, then just in 2 seconds, it just shifted and I wanted to giggle. Because I personally have this awareness and belief in my life that we all come in with these goals and missions to carry out these life situations with people, that we've agreed to have these life situations and allow these dramas to play out so that we can both learn specific lessons and move forward in life. But knowing at the end of the day, at the end of life, that it's been nothing more than a story and there's so much more out there beyond this life. That's what keeps me going. That's what keeps life in perspective for me, is saying, at some point this is all going to fall away and we might, on the other side, I don't know, maybe we giggle about it a little bit and say, look at all those things that we got angry about. And, it was just a story. It was just a play. And at the end of the day, it was meant to be supportive and helpful for each other. I know that can be a difficult concept to grasp, especially when we're dealing with something so fiery and hot and passionate as anger. But I swear it's the only thing that keeps me going in life, is being able to have that wider perspective. So it's just an offering, okay? You can take or let go of anything like that I might offer to you. It's just something that's been helpful to me in my life that maybe you want to take a look at and examine, okay? All right, let's move back into this space. I feel like that how dare you did dissipate pretty quickly. It was strong and then it was gone. Okay, so good job moving that through. And we are just going to kind of keep sweeping through this side here. Okay, but what I am noticing is that early relationship with Dad. Okay, same thing here. Was he present or not? What kind of influence did he play in your life, your early life, your young life? How did you feel about him? What kind of patterns were set up in your emotional body because of the role that Dad played as a young child in your life? Okay, and it's never just one thing, right? All relationships are complicated, especially those with our parents, where there's so many different life themes like intertwined here. But again, being in the solar plexus, we're looking at that whole relationship with dad, and also remembering that we're also dealing with those themes of the self-esteem. I feel like our relationship with our parents has a huge role in our self-esteem. We're dealing with that goal setting, achievements. Okay, so where did dad play into that for you? What kind of influence did he have over your goal setting and achievements? Did he inspire you? Did he pressure you? Did he care? Was he present? Just let that be here. Again, not reaching for those things in your mental mind, noticing what's there. That's how we stay in our body, okay? With the breath and with the awareness of what is there, okay? And stay out of the stories in your mind. Noticing memories, noticing sensations, notice what feels present without reaching for it. I hope that feels clear. I'm seeing like a soccer dad, like the athletic parent. I don't know why sports are coming in strongly for me today, but I think it's just like a common experience for a lot of people, right? Was your dad the dad who got ejected from the game for his anger, right? Taking his anger out on the refs, the coaches, sometimes the other kids, right? Seen that one a couple too many times. Okay, so how did that affect your relationship with him? How did that affect your self-esteem? Maybe your dad didn't show up to your soccer games, or whatever those events, as a young child were for you. So there's those more direct things of the role of our parents. I was referring to the complicated nature of our relationship with our parents, because it's not only about how they showed up as a parent, but we also watched them be an adult, right? Just in their life, right? So not in the indirect way that you watched your parents' behavior. What kind of decisions were they making in their life that didn't necessarily involve you, but affected you, right? Everything our parents do affect us. So like, what kind of decisions was your dad making with his job, with his relationships, right? And how did that influence you? How did you feel about that? I feel there's anger for a lot of people. I think particularly around relationships, okay? How did your dad handle his relationship choices in his life that affected you? Okay, and notice where there might be some anger around dad's choices in relationships in his life. Whew. Big deep breath, keep that energy moving. Okay, the goal is to not, as these emotions come up, we've already been gripping onto them. We've already been holding them, okay? So the goal here is to let them come up, notice them, express them, feel them, let them finish and flow, okay? So trying not to get pulled back into the drama of it, getting pulled all the way down into the deep story of it. Notice it, let it be here, and if it comes up, that means it is ready to be looked at and held and felt and moved, okay? So allow the opportunity for that to happen rather than gripping back onto it. Really try to let it flow, okay? We're trying to let go of things here, letting them move, letting them be transmuted into something more useful for our lives, ourselves, our bodies, okay? Okay, still a lot of strong energy. That tension is hanging out. And here comes that unsettling feeling as we're kind of moving into that same space in our timeline. This is, I would say, not quite high school yet, but old enough to be aware, right? Old enough to be aware of what's going on in your life, in your parents' lives. Old enough to be able to start seeing them as an adult, you know, not just your dad. And we just kind of start to have some of those realizations about who they are in the outer world. How did you feel about that? Were you proud? Were you angry? Were you embarrassed? And, you know, going back to that complicated factor, it's like, we can love our parents, our dads, with all of our hearts and still have some anger over some choices and still have some sadness or embarrassment or whatever it is over some of their choices. So holding those both together in the same hand, right? And noticing how that feels to feel all of those complicated things all mixed up together. Big deep breath here. Ooh. Something really dense here. That kind of felt like a gut punch, like it took my breath for a second. So anywhere you might have experienced some shock, trauma, overwhelm, overload, emotional overload. But it felt like shock. It felt like out of nowhere surprise. I'm gonna get a different fork for that. Bring in a little different energy to help break that up. Keep your breath going. Oh, okay. All right, that feels better already. Whew. Breathe, shake it out, y'all. Keep going. Take a moment to commend yourself for being here, for taking the time to move through all these things. It's not easy. It's not for the faint of heart, and it pays off so greatly for your body, your life, your future generations. Okay, when we can resolve these tensions, these stuck emotions, we pass that gift on to the generations ahead of us. Okay, we break those quote unquote generational curses. So many of us were sent here to do that. And I send you blessings. I praise you for the work you're doing. Okay, moving along. Excellent, excellent work. Okay, and we're jumping ahead here a little bit into definitely those adult years, and same kind of experience here. Like as you get older, when you become a father, when your husband becomes a father, how do those perspectives and relationships change? with your father and the father figures in your life? And how are they influencing, how have those relationships influenced the way that you want to show up as a parent, or the kind of man that you want to marry to be the father of your children, you know, whatever that looks like. Oh. Yeah, I feel like we're just kind of flipping the coin over here with some of the things we talked about with mom. Okay, that song is coming into my head, In the Living Years, right? About how that guy wishes that he could have resolved his issues with his dad while his dad was still alive. Okay, so how are you going to feel when your dad passes and is no longer here? Are you going to hold on to all of these resentments and disappointments, this anger? Or do you want to let it go now? Do you want to offer forgiveness now? Do you want the opportunity to see if it's even possible to have a different kind of relationship with him now? What would happen if you offer forgiveness? Not necessarily for their sake, but for yours. For the sake of your children. What would that look like? And if you're not ready, you're not ready, and that is what it is, and everybody's entitled to know where they are at personally, you know, with those relationships. But that song's popping in. In the living years. So say it loud, right? Really encouraging you to just, you know, even if you get no response back, even if you don't get the reaction that you want, for you to know that you said what was in your heart and you expressed, right? Rather than locking it all in, you took that time to express responsibly, compassionately, right? Without spewing that anger all over the place, right? Standing in your power and expressing. Two very different things. Hold on to that for a moment. I'm gonna give this just a little more energy here. And we're going to start dropping in. So starting to bring all of that stuck energy back into the body to be recycled and reused now. Letting it all drain in, letting it all drain away. Offering it up, okay? Everything that you're willing and ready to let go of now. Just let it drain into this receptacle, right? This is what I'm giving up. This is what I'm releasing. This is what I have to offer in this moment in time. If it's one drop or a million, it's more than you were able to let go of yesterday. Oh, very nice. Very nice. Got emotional support doggy under here, Miss Ginger. Sometimes she's in here, sometimes she's not, but she loves to offer her emotional support for our sessions. Okay. Letting that all integrate. It's like we're bringing this cold, you know, these were ice cubes out here, right? We melted the ice cubes, we scooped up the cold water, we dumped it back in, now we're warming it back up to body temperature. So it's all mixed together and integrated. All right. And now creating that pathway for new intentions, okay? Holding on to that vision of how we want things to be different. What things are we ready to have changed, and what do we want them to look like in regards to our relationship with our Father, our relationship with fatherhood. New visions, new goals, new intentions. What are we setting here? Okay, how do you want your anger to be expressed differently? Maybe you've been stuffing it all in and you want to start letting some of it out in a safe, responsible way. Or maybe you blow up all over the place all the time and it's time to start taking some more responsibility for that. Learning how to be a more safe person to be around in regards to spewing anger. How does that show up in your life? Okay. And tying it all in now. Nice work, you guys. Nice work. Let's get this wrapped up. Okay, we're just going to do some integrating here. Connecting thy will with divine will, okay? What is the bigger purpose, the bigger picture here? Wrapping your whole field up with love, compassion, safety and healthy boundaries. Okay. Just take a moment to slowly come back to the present moment, kind of shake out your body, start to open your eyes here. And I just, again, want to thank you and commend you for going through this session with me today, for being willing to show up. It takes a lot of emotional energy and effort to be willing to look at these things. And so, again, I commend you for that. Take some time to care for yourself as you move forward out of this session, drinking maybe some extra water, going out barefoot in the grass, get some sunshine in your eyes to re-energize that solar plexus. Rest more if your body asks for it. And if you have any questions, please leave them below. I'll be happy to address them for you. As I mentioned, I do invite you to go deeper into your own personal biofield in a personal session with me. There are links below for that. And then please keep an eye out as we'll be releasing some additional videos for the solar plexus as the month goes on to support you additionally and completely as we move through this chakra. Thanks for being here and have a great evening.